Tokyo, home to over 37 million people. It's the largest urban area on the planet. A true megalopolis. But how did this small fishing village transform into a global powerhouse? Spoiler alert, it's all about geography, economy, and government. Let's break it down. Tokyo wasn't always called Tokyo. Back in the 12th century, it was called Edo, a small coastal village. Its geography set the stage for greatness. Located on the Kanto Plain, Edo sat by Tokyo Bay. This gave it access to the sea for fishing and trade. Flat land made it easy to build. Now this is important because most of Japan, about 75%, is mountainous terrain with dense forests and very soft topsoil. Soft mountains and dense forests keep the population on the plains. Nearby rivers like the Sumida River provide fresh water. The bay also acted as a natural defense against invaders. And as you know, Tokyo wasn't always the capital. Until the year 710, capitals were often temporary and moved with each new emperor. This was common in ancient Japan. The first permanent capital was Nara, from 720 to 794. Then it moved to Kyoto, where it stayed for over 1,000 years. Fast forward to the 1600s, the Tokugawa shogunate made Edo the political center of power for Japan. Why? Once again, geography. Edo's central location in Japan made it ideal for governing. It was far enough from rival clans in Kyoto and Osaka that they wouldn't be a threat. The shogun built a massive castle, which is now the Imperial Palace. In 1868, during the Meiji Restoration, they moved the capital from Kyoto to Edo, and they renamed the city Tokyo, meaning Eastern Capital. This shift marked the beginning of modern Japan, with Tokyo as the political, economic, and cultural center. Roads like the Tokaido connected Edo and the rest of Japan. This boosted trade and communication. By 1720, Edo was one of the biggest cities in the world, with over 1 million people. Geography laid the foundation, but it was leadership that supercharged Tokyo's growth. Let's find out how the leaders turned this place into a megalopolis. This is where it gets wild. Now, the Meiji leaders were very ambitious. They wanted Japan to compete with the West, and Tokyo became their testing ground. The government invested heavily in infrastructure. They built Japan's first railway in 1872, connecting Tokyo and Yokohama. This made Tokyo a hub for trade and travel. Western-style buildings popped up. Brick factories replaced wooden huts. The government also centralized power in Tokyo. Ministries, universities, and businesses all set up shop here. This pulled more people away from the rural areas to the city. By the early 1900s, Tokyo was booming. The economy was a major driver. Japan's industrialization took off. Factories in Tokyo produced textiles, steel, and machinery. The city's port handled exports. Banks and corporations set up headquarters in Tokyo. Jobs were everywhere. People poured in from the countryside. By 1920, the population hit 2 million. But it wasn't all smooth. The 1923 Great Kanto earthquake devastated Tokyo. Over 100,000 people died, and the city was flattened. But here's where government steps in. Tokyo's leaders saw the earthquake as a chance to rebuild a better city. They widened the streets, updated building codes, and introduced modern urban planning. Fun fact, the first subway line built in Tokyo was the Ginza Line, which initially ran between Asakusa and Ueno. It opened in 1927 and marked the beginning of Tokyo's extensive subway network. By the 1930s, Tokyo was back, bigger and stronger. The economy kept growing. Tokyo became Japan's financial heart. Stock exchanges, banks, and trading houses thrived. The city's geography helped too. Its port linked Japan to global markets. Tokyo was now a player on the world stage. But World War II hit Tokyo hard. Firebombing destroyed much of the city. But the city's comeback was epic. Let's see how the post-war years turned Tokyo into the megalopolis we know today. In 1945, Tokyo was in ruins. The economy was shattered. People were struggling. They were all hungry. But Japan's government had a plan. They focused on rebuilding Tokyo as the nation's economic engine. The U.S. occupation helped and American aid poured in. The government pushed for rapid industrialization, and Tokyo became the center of Japan's economic miracle. Factories churned out cars, electronics, and appliances. Companies like Toyota, Sony, and Mitsubishi all set up shop here. Big companies mean job security. This attracted young talent. The city's economy exploded and more people moved in. Geography played a role again. Tokyo's flat terrain and coastal areas made it perfect for industry and trade. The government invested in infrastructure. The bullet train, launched in 1964, connected Tokyo to Osaka. This made Tokyo the hub of Japan's high-speed rail network. The 1964 Olympics showed the world that Japan was back. New stadiums, highways, and subways transformed the city. By the 1960s, Tokyo's population exploded to 10 million. Now y'all know Tokyo's subways are legendary. They move millions of people every day. This didn't happen by accident. Government planning and economic growth made it possible. Let's dive into how Tokyo's transport system became the backbone of the megalopolis. The government knew that a big city needed great transportation. They built one of the best subway systems in the world. By the 1970s, the Ginza and Marunouchi lines were carrying millions. Private rail companies like Keio and Odakyu expanded the network. This connected Tokyo to suburbs like Chiba and Saitama. People could live farther out and commute to work. The Greater Tokyo area was born. Today, it spans over 14,000 square kilometers.
The Toei Ueda line is one of the deepest subways in the world. Why? Because it's the newest. You know what that means? They had to tunnel underneath all the existing subways and skyscraper foundations. That makes it an epic feat of engineering. But as you probably already guessed, epic feats of engineering come at an epic price. That's right, this was about 1.4 trillion yen or 14 billion US dollars at the time.
The economy kept fueling growth. By the 1980s, Japan was an economic superpower. Tokyo was its beating heart. Real estate boomed. Skyscrapers started to fill the skyline. The Nikkei Stock Exchange became a global giant. Foreign companies flocked to Tokyo. The city's GDP rivaled that of entire nations, and the people kept coming. By 1990, the population of Greater Tokyo hit 30 million. Government policies like tax breaks and subsidies encouraged this growth. Urban planning kept the city livable even as it grew. Tokyo's growth wasn't just about money. The government made sure the city worked for its people. Let's talk about how they kept the megalopolis from collapsing under its own weight. The government is a master of urban management. They regulate everything from traffic, waste, and housing. Strict building codes ensure safety, and the city's infrastructure is top-notch. Water and electricity are extremely reliable. Public services like healthcare and education are accessible. This makes Tokyo one of the most livable cities in the world. Geography helps too. The Kanto Plains flat land allows for somewhat orderly expansion. The suburbs help absorb population growth. Today, Tokyo is a global leader. Its economy is diverse. Tech, finance, fashion, you name it. Companies like SoftBank and Rakuten call it home. The port handles massive trade volumes, about 100 million tons of cargo per year, and the government policies keep innovation alive. Tokyo hosts global events like the 2020 Olympics, which was held in 2021. Its universities attract talent from around the world, and the population keeps growing. But planning keeps the city efficient. That's the magic of Tokyo. So how did Tokyo become a megalopolis? Geography gave it the perfect location: flat land, a bay, and rivers for fresh water. The economy drove growth from industrialization to global finance, and the government, they planned, rebuilt, and innovated. From Edo to Tokyo, this city shows what's possible when vision meets opportunity. But if you ask young men why they come to Tokyo, they'll probably just say, because that's where the girls are. Now, with all these young people moving to Tokyo, why do they stay? So they come to Tokyo for school, and they meet people from other parts of the country. They end up getting married and staying in Tokyo. They get a job in Tokyo. When they have children, they stay here. So there's this movement of people into the city with very few people moving back after university.
And now that you know a little bit more about Tokyo, click on the video on the screen to find out why I never plan on leaving.